see it even if you get moisture in your
Even if you have good moisture, even if you have a lot of moisture, it's very hard to see against a white backdrop.
yeah.
Like I did this the other night, and if you're looking at a white thing and then you breathe out, it doesn't contrast well.
Well,
Or just say
also,
that
if
like
Yo,
more
anybody
accurate
did,
is like you don't
hold
always see it,
on,
right?
hold on. If anybody did a modicum of research that was questioning this and just did some research into seeing your breath in Antarctica, you would learn that the humidity is close to 0.03% on average. And you don't typically see your breath in Antarctica. This is a commonly known thing. Like, so I don't know where these people are doing their research, but they're not doing it anywhere. They're just
so
making shit up.
I guess my follow up here is why is it that you're saying these answers are quote unquote not satisfactory?
Yeah, they seem plenty satisfactory. Like
But even
it's
even
just
if somebody
obvious. It's
did,
just physical things. We're not telling you space time's bending. We're telling you about breath and stepping on snow. Like you can check this shit for yourself. This isn't like farcical. People that live in the north deal with cold weathers. They know that this shouldn't even be an issue.
And he claims to live in Wisconsin, and that's his whole evidence that it's fake or something. And this is something else that's like also a truther whenever I say, hey, bro, look, here's a video, a stream I did with Owen Benjamin, and I'm drinking like hot tea, and I'm kind of in the shadow of the dining tent. You can see my breath the entire stream. A truther would then say, oh, okay, wow. So if I was kind of falling for the narrative that you weren't really in Antarctica and you were faking your breath, like this video pretty sufficiently debunks it. You know what someone that's not looking for the truth would do? Someone that's got their ego involved and they've gone too far out, so now they can't admit they were wrong. They would say, oh, well, they probably just turned the AC up then, like QOP said, or say something like, oh, well, one of the videos could have been real, one of them could have been fake. Oh, so we were really in Antarctica for one of the videos? So what's your point even in the whole, like if I could be there for one of the videos, why couldn't I be there for both of the videos? It's just insane that you people, what's insane is that you're not acknowledging the points. You get real quiet and you ignore these points. And this is what Globers do.
Yo, can you hear me real
Right?
quick?
We
Yeah.
should have at least hold on, line. We should have
All
at
right.
least done a 25-hour marathon and had your video playing in the background. We could have at least got something out of this.
Yeah, it's touche. You did suggest it. It ends up
Yo,
happening basically anyway.
yo, it's like you're working hard, right? Doing a 12-hour shift for your wife, and you come home after being away for a couple weeks on the road, and she's accusing you of cheating, and you're like, babe, I'm not cheating, and you're trying to go to. She brings it up, and she swears that you're cheating on her, and you're not cheating on her. What do you call a woman like that, bro?
It's not a really
Delusional.
good example because
a
most
woman,
times when that happens, it ends up being true.
That's a pretty
Oh
good
my God.
example.
here we go. So anyway, when it comes to somebody's suspicion on answers given, that isn't anything of any value because however suspicious you might be, it doesn't change the veracity of the response given. So even if everyone in the world was suspicious of the answers given, that doesn't change the value of the answers themselves. You have to judge them on their own merits, not your opinion.
They're not suspicious though. Like stepping on compacted snow doesn't leave a big footprint, if any, depending on how compact it is. Like
But
breath,
that wasn't what I was
sometimes you can
talking about,
see it,
Jeremy.
sometimes you can't see the breath. Like there's nothing. That's what I'm telling you. We're not telling you space time bending or we lost the telemetry data. Like there's like real things you can go check for yourself.
Yeah, well, that's precisely my point. So somebody's view on the data given or the responses given is irrelevant. Somebody saying it's suspicious and the answers you give me are more suspicious is just them expressing their opinion. But that
Well, and it's
doesn't
an
change what
appeal.
actually that doesn't
It's an
change what
appeal.
actually happened. It's a meaningless statement when you're actually trying to
And
test
I,
something.
It's an appeal to
I would like to go
incredulity.
on the record that I don't want it to be fake. I would say you are my favorite Planet debater. I think you are the strongest nail in the coffin. You're the smartest man I know, and I consider myself to be smart. I don't want to brag, but you're a lot smarter than I am. I don't want you to be. I don't want it to be fake. I want to be able to trust you. That's not. But I been lied to since the day I was born by my parents, by my schools, by my government, by my churches, by everybody important about everything important. And I will question everything. It
Well,
won't
that's
stop.
good.
I can't stop. You know, So
look, I
just
appreciate that. Sorry.
I'm not against you. I want you to know I'm questioning things. You know,
Sure.
and man, I want the truth just as much as everyone else does. I'm not here to take anyone down or to build a big platform on any social media. I want to know for
Okay, I
me,
believe you.
for my children, et cetera, et cetera.
I believe you, bro. Okay,
So
and like, look, this is the thing. Like, I appreciate the kind words. Okay, and I appreciate you saying that. And there's no shame in you having heard other narratives or videos or things that didn't make sense to you and questioning it and even thinking for whatever reason that my answers weren't satisfactory. There are times that I get upset with people. And so it can definitely, I could be interpreted as like, oh, that's what happens when you get caught lying, right? But I think I've actually been overall very reserved and very patient to the point that I've invested like dozens of hours at this point answering the same questions over and over and over. But I will just say, like, imagine the scenario where I actually am just truly a flat earther. I've actually sacrificed tons of stuff for flat earth and I've just invested a lot of time in learning all the arguments because I felt like there weren't that many really good debaters that were out publicly doing it. And that's just the truth. And then I just went to Antarctica because I thought they'd replace me with someone else that would maybe flip, that wouldn't be able to argue the right way, right? And I actually just did all of these things to try to help. You can obviously see that from my perspective, when people are constantly saying things like, I thought you were different. I didn't think that they could get to you. I don't know what they did. I'm so disappointed. All this, when the truth is, I didn't do anything other than just be honest the whole time. You can obviously see where eventually over time, you've tried so hard to explain it all to people and they're just like shutting it out and they're just doubling down the lie. Like eventually you're gonna like kind of snap because it's just like, are you like it really comes across like very ungrateful and very disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I appreciate it. I would just encourage you to like really look into whatever you think is suspicious. I'm happy to try to answer your questions. Almost everyone in this room knows all the answers to the questions at this point. I'm going to do a stream. I'm going to drop that video. I'm going to drop my GoPro behind the scenes. I'm going to drop all this other stuff. And I would just encourage, like I've said since the beginning, I've said this over and over. I don't judge someone for questioning it. I encourage people being skeptical. I always say, don't take my word for it. I was same thing here. But like reserve judgment, show some wisdom and discernment and reserve judgment, show some patience and restraint. And like, be open to the evidence, even if it's not what you expected. That's the problem. And then show humility to say that maybe you got something wrong once you see it. Just don't double down on it. That's all I'm asking from people.
That's
And then
scripture.
everything can be cool. We can just move on together.
That you basically just said scripture.
Speaking of doubling down,
words of wisdom there.
JT's about to bring on our boy Matt, aka Witsit Jr., and then you guys can have the first conversation together at the same time while simultaneously being the same person. So we'll go ahead and
There you
wrap
go.
that up real quick.
Does anyone remember, real fast, does anyone remember who was saying that earlier? Is it AF? AF was just typed in the chat, I think. Has anyone ever seen this in the same room?
I got a
Danny
whole
Diesel.
YouTube comment page full of people saying that.
And okay, it was Danny Diesel or something, and then AF is saying it. So, okay, sure, let's do it. I don't know when I'm going to need help with the children and stuff, but I will talk as much as I can.
Well, I'll make it quick,
Nice.
real quick, if you can hear me. Mic check.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Run Boston Bear here. Reached out to Matt and was like, hey, bro, everybody's spiraling, saying that you're Witsit. Would you come on my channel? And he's like, yeah, man, whatever you want to do. It's cool. I'm not Witsit. I'll talk. And then so he was going to do a stream with me, blah, blah, blah. He showed me his face. Like he has a hoodie on. It's not Witsit. But yeah, Matt, I got him to download Discord and he got a run through in the Ether Cosmology room. So he knows how to mute and unmute, and he's here. So everybody quiet down. Let Witsit talk to Matt, which they're not the same person. Go for it, Matt.
I am Witsit.
Come on, bro.
We were separated at birth. Don't you remember? What's up?
Yo, Matthew, I got a question for you from the jump. I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
All right, can you describe the phenomena of magnetism?
Of what?
Magnetism.
I didn't hear you.
Magnetism.
Hello? Magnetism. No.
Wait, can you describe
Do
magnetism?
you think the photoelectric effect proved the photon?
No, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. My flat earth arguments are always very simple and nobody can answer them, but they gave me links to videos that don't make sense.
Oh, let me jump in for 1 second. He was saying like Flat Earth Fridays is okay. You guys, he's a Glober. I forgot to tell you, he actually is, and he says that Sacred and Proud Flurv kind of gaslight. He said he liked talking to me, that I'm chill, and I said, hey, maybe later we can talk about flat versus globe and have a whole conversation. But if you drill him, like that's not what he's here for. Basically,
Oh no, it's all good, bro. Like
I was
my
just
big
asking him a question. I knew Witsit would have Witsit's answer to. We were trying to
right?
see if he was Witsit or not, or
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, but no, my flat Earth argument or my globe arguments are always very
Lies,
simple.
lies. No, that's not true. You're lying. Sorry, I have to talk at the same time as you to prove that we're not the same person.
Well,
Oh, hey, what's up, man? Dude,
can we
I
ask
tried to
him?
defend you, and now I'm you.
Yeah, did you know that the heliocentric model is complete and total pseudoscience, and that to believe that you have to believe that that you're standing on the Earth while you're free falling through a vacuum right now? Not only are you free falling, but you're free falling and changing direction perpetually without a force. And to even explain the orbits, you have to actually step outside the mechanical system of Newtonian mechanics and then invoke inertial forces that are external to that mechanical system.
Well, that's an explanation. Explain flat Earth. Why do we stick to the ground? Why
Hold
do
on,
we?
hold on. Before that, okay, both of y'all sing the ABC together. One,
Yeah, okay, you ready?
2, 3.
No,
A, B, C. Dude, don't you
Dude, you
drop
got to
the
do it at
ball.
the same time, Matroni.
Come on, man.
Come on.
I refuse.
Ready, set,
You
go.
refuse.
A. Okay, what song do you want to sing? What song do you
I didn't go to Antarctica.
like? What song do you want to sing at the same time?
I'm not singing the
That
ABCs,
ass
bro.
up.
Okay, well, let's just like rap or say a sentence together or something.
Count to 10.
Can
Just
you,
count to 10.
can you repeat this after me? Can you repeat this after me? Better than better, and don't want to let him in and gut but to let him in, fill him to eat his come to speakers, talking, see speak up.
No, do this.
Oh, come on. You're not asking to do
Backwards. Do it backwards. Count to 10
Yo.
from 10 to 1.
Why would you do it
Count.
backwards?
Ready?
I'm not doing shit. You, fuck off.
Okay.
Okay, no,
Okay.
Matt, seriously, I'm asking you as a favor.
I like Matt.
Hey, I'm asking you as a favor, bro. Just like, we gotta do something at the same time. So can we just count to 10?
Count to 10 back. Count
Well,
from
okay,
10
what do you
to
want to
0.
say?
10 to
We're gonna
0.
count from
10 to 0.
10 to 0. So Elbo's gonna
Let's,
count to 3 and say go, and then we're gonna start counting
we're
backwards
gonna
from
go
10 to
10
0.
backwards.
Yeah, from backwards.
All right, fine, sure.
1, 2, 3, go.
10, 9,
9,
8. Why are you doing this? Why are you not doing it at the same time?
Why are we
do this. Alternate.
Yo, Coach
10,
did the
alternate.
same
10,
thing to
9.
me.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right,
do
we'll
it
alternate.
alternate.
All right,
ready?
10, 10,
9,
8,
7,
6,
5,
4,
3,
2,
1.
0.
Happy New
Yay! Are you guys?
Hey,
I don't
wait.
understand how anybody thought that we were the same person.
I
You
don't
don't even
either.
sound like
He
me at
doesn't
all,
sound
dude.
shit like you.
Okay,
I'm
Because
drunk,
someone
okay,
confused you
there's
for
a few
Austin
instances
in
where you
Flat
do
Earth
sound
Friday.
similar.
Yeah,
There's a few
dude.
instances where you do sound similar,
Are
but
you trying to fight
yeah,
me or something?
it's pretty
How
Why
obvious.
is everybody so quiet all
I
of a
think
sudden?
when you're
Their
drunk,
camera is not
everybody
similar.
sounds alike.
That's kind of funny. But here's what I want to ask real quick because Matt's first time on Discord. Dude, what did you think when you looked through the comments on Alan's channel of people spiraling, like multiple people spiraling that you're with it? I just want to see like how did that feel?
It was fucking weird. It's like surreal and kind of like hilarious at the same time, and kind of a sense of I'm famous amongst a group of people that. Anyway,
Well, it's not
I
a
mean,
good famous.
no,
That,
that's what I was.
ain't true.
That's infamous.
It's not a
Yeah, it's
group I want
infamous.
to be
Yeah.
famous amongst.
well, it's
Oh,
an
you are.
interesting famous. And then
No, I
my
kind of am.
question.
Oh,
Sorry, go ahead. No, you go ahead, buddy.
No, I was just gonna. I'm just talking. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was wondering, how did you find Flat Earth Fridays? Because I've been on there for, I don't know, 15 or 18 weeks. And then have you been there many times? I mean, because you spoke up and that's pretty awesome. A lot of people won't even grab a mic. And I just want to know how you found Flat Earth Fridays. And I mean, the last Friday you spoke, and that's what caused all this. So what's that story?
I have been on there probably 3 or 4 times. I don't get on Twitter unless I'm drinking, so it's always a Friday, and I just go on there. But it started with Twitter decided that I wanted to see flat Earth content, And then I saw some ridiculous shit, and then I start commenting on it. Next thing you know, everything I'm recommended is flat Earth related. So I just got recommended Flat Earth Fridays, and it's been a long time since I've been on there. Because what's the point of arguing with people that
No way more than you.
can't be convinced and can't convince me, and are just so bullheaded that it's pointless to argue or even talk about. So I
Well,
stopped, but they still just recommend the shit constantly.
Dude, imagine thinking this guy was me.
Right.
Dude,
It sounded better
dude, the
on
more I
X.
hear him, yeah, the more I hear him, the less it sounds like him. But the X clip, he definitely does have like some mannerisms and stuff that sound similar, but it's
But
not
then he
even
said
close,
bro.
dude.
He said be
But
concise,
yeah,
bro.
I was fucking hammered that night. I was like, you can hear, like, hearing my voice on the playback was the cringiest thing I've ever done. It was just like, oh, this is fucking crazy. How the fuck are people listening to this and thinking that I'm you? Like, Witsit, you're very clear and well spoken. And like, the whole thing on Friday was I was defending you. I'm like, you have been around forever, and you are the ambassador. You go out and debate people, like, for real, all the time. So all these people saying that you didn't go there are saying you were a plant for like however many years, and then you just sprung your trap suddenly. It's just like, it's the dumbest thing I've
Yeah.
ever heard.
Or the other
So
narrative they
that's
say is that I was legit, but they got to me by like offering me money or something.
I don't want to
if
add
it.
fuel to the fire, but there are things that called spies. That, just saying.
Well, what about them? You got to finish that thought, bro.
No, I don't. You can finish it.
Well, what do you mean by spies? Like, there's things called spies. Are you saying Witsit's a spy?
You realize that that's actually why people think that I was you for whatever reason is because you were defending me and they were acting like I had to come in pretending to be someone else defending me.
He's a
But
NASA spy.
me and you disagree on the shape of the Earth, but I don't think you're dumb. Like, I've seen a lot of stuff you're on. Like, I watched the whole Timcast episode. You're not stupid.
It's always suspicious when a Glober defends a flat earther, though, isn't it? Like, you've always got
Yo,
to
this
go,
guy
oh.
sounds more like
What?
the Witsit clone than the actual Witsit
Is
himself.
this what you guys got planned for, New Year's Eve?
Yeah.
no,
Is this a big event? Because if
respect,
so,
dog.
I'm
We
bummed,
fucking
man.
go over something else.
Can we take questions from the audience? I'm sure a lot of people
If you were in
have a lot to
Michigan, you
say.
could come to the party.
I'm
hey,
in Washington.
Well,
Matt,
last year we debunked all of Jesse Path of Light's lies on New Year's Eve, so might as well, debunk some more this one.
But hey,
All
Witsit,
right.
can I ask you a question?
Yo, thanks for coming on, Matt. I appreciate it. I'm gonna head off. I just wanted to get that voice clip, the
Bro.
boys or whatever.
thanks
I
for
don't
doing
even.
that, Alan.
Yep.
All right. Yep. Thanks, Alan.
Later.
Oh, man.
This was
another
awesome.
one off the list.
Somebody was drunk when they thought you were Witsit.
Phone gate is out.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, Matt, you had a
Happy New
question
Year
for
from
Witsit?
Finland.
It's not 12 o'clock already, is it? In Finland?
Right.
Is it?
I'm wondering, will it be the new
Already?
year?
No way. 12 o'clock in Finland already. That's crazy.
It's already the new year. That's what I was wondering. Okay, answers my question.
So you are now people from yesterday.
He's a day
Not
ahead of
from
us.
yesterday,
Yeah,
but
we're the
from
Langoliers,
yesteryear.
bro.
I'm way ahead of
You're
you.
from yesteryear, bro.
I'm a
Not
Langolier,
even
bro. I'll see you tomorrow.
By the way, Matthew, like the spinning globe heliocentric model is completely debunked.
Is this Witsit?
Yeah, I'm just letting you know, like it's
Yeah, the
100%
game's over, man.
pseudoscience. Yeah, it's like ridiculous,
It's
bro.
not though.
It is
Can
though. Like, but
Can
let
I
me tell you a
ask
story.
you
Let
a
me tell you.
question?
Let me
Real
tell you a
quick?
quick story, real fast. So back in the day, they did this test called Michelson-Morley, when they use
Wait, say
lasers.
I didn't hear you that. Sorry.
Michelson-Morley, and
Yeah, I'm familiar.
they use lasers to detect the assumed orbit of Earth. And they didn't, right? And so instead of accepting that the evidence shows the Earth's not orbiting, what they claimed and what you must believe to believe the modern model is that the laser beam, one of the laser beams, did actually have to travel further, which would take longer than the other light beam. because the Earth was moving, but time slowed down. So even though it did take longer, time itself actually slowed down. So it made it look like it was the same time. And it did have to travel.
Hello?
Wait, sorry. And it did have to travel further, but distance itself actually contracted.
I have
I'm
to
getting
believe
spam
that.
called. Sorry. Yeah, you have to believe that to think the Earth is
No, I
moving.
don't.
Just a sec. I got a call.
Yeah, Witsit was cutting out for a second. Matt, I just want to thank you for being willing to like meet me and pop on and jump on my Talk Studios. Like again, it was cool that you showed me your face. He
Yeah.
had a little sticker over his phone. He's like, I don't really show my face, but he's like, look at me, and it was him with a hoodie. Yeah, definitely not Witsit, but I'm gonna have to bail because my family didn't expect me to like get distracted with the internet like I do. But I'm telling you, man, I want to have you
Am
on my
I still
channel.
on here? I want to
Yeah.
talk about what he just said.
Well, so he got a phone call, and so basically he disappeared for a second. And if you're ever in Discord and get a call, you just drop the audio drop. So I took it as an opportunity to thank you, and I'm kind of on my way out. You can hang out as long as you want.
right.
The room is basically a mixture of flat versus globe, and honestly, Earth Awakenings is one of the greatest places in my journey of seeking what this realm is. Like 2.5 years, I've been coming here. I've been going to Ether Cosmology, Flat Earth Fridays, Clubhouse. These are all places just to talk to other human beings about, well, what do they think's going on? And now, before I go, Earth Awakenings is not just about Earth, globe versus flat. They kind of touch on all kinds of different topics. It really ranges. Whenever you pop in, you can see what's going on. You can check it on YouTube because it streams to YouTube 24/7. So oftentimes I'll just pop it on to see what folks are talking about. Hop in here, wait my turn, unmute, join, chat. But yeah, it's a cool place. And ultimately, my little deal is, I think every man has a right to pursue and seek truth and knowledge and understanding. And for me, I got into seeking, what is this place we live? What is Earth? What is this realm? Because I didn't want to just pass something to my kids. I didn't want to just like say, well, the textbooks say so. And almost 500 years ago, Copernicus came up with this theory of heliocentrism, and it must be right because he said so. And they passed it down and it became mainstream science. I realized that there's no test to prove motion. There's no curvature that has been measured. And it's usually an optical device that gives them the curvature, like the view of things dropping in the distance. But anyway, I'm a flat earther, proud of it. If I'm wrong, I'd be happy to come back to the globe or whatever this place is. I'm not stuck in flat earth. But yeah, we should have a cool conversation sometime on my channel just about our own journeys and what we think is and isn't. But Witsit will be back.
He's more than a flat
If you
earther.
message me on
He's
X,
the
I got
mayor.
your back, brother.
Actually, what'd you say, Matt?
I said if you message me on Twitter,
Yeah.
I will respond.
Definitely, dude. We'll set something up. And then Lion was saying I'm the mayor, but he forgot that I got promoted to president of Flat Earth. So that's my title currently.
Yeah. I'm hoping I get to talk to Witsit again, and I'm sorry you can't hear it because all of my arguments are very just common sense, and they require huge explanations that don't make any sense. So
Okay.
maybe
Yeah,
sometime.
I got phone calls and stuff, you know. I don't Did you already get muted in here? That's not a good look.
No. Witsit, I just gave him like a thanks for coming and told him my brief overview of kind of how I found Flat Earth and why I think it's okay for men to pursue truth and knowledge. And I told him the room breaks down into some flat, some globe, and it's not always that conversation. That's a really cool place to chill at. And then I invited him on my channel later because I'm dipping out, going to hang with the fam. But you guys talk, don't get argumentative. There's no reason to fight. Much love to everybody. Peace.
Yeah. Hey, I appreciate you. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Matt.
Yeah.
All right, later,
Yeah,
brother.
so Matthew,
Later,
just so you know, man, vaccines are poison, and they are giving like a ton of vaccines to children now, but they've never even been tested in conjunction with each other. So how could they possibly know they're safe?
Dude, that's not the conversation we're having. I agree with that.
No, I know. I'm about to. The reason that I'm doing this because I have a feeling you agree with a lot of it. So I just want to kind of I want to figure out what all you agree with or
No,
don't
I
agree with.
do. Like, I'm a conspiracy theorist, but flat Earth is just impossible.
Okay, that's what you think, yes. But now,
Can
okay,
I
so
say something real
well,
quick?
let me finish.
Because you threw the Mickelson-Morley experiment at me.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. So if you're standing in Antarctica and you have the sun rotating around your head 360 degrees, right?
That's right, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to pause just to make sure you're following. So, if you were to stand facing, say, South America, right, and the sun is in front of you, that means South America is lit up, and whatever is on the other side of the Earth, let's say Australia, it'd be nighttime because it's only 24 hours of sunlight in Antarctica. You know, they will have longer days because in the south it's the southern summer. So if you're facing South America and the sun is right in front of you, so that means it's light in South America, you could call somebody in Australia and be like, "Hey, is it nighttime or what? You know, what's the sun doing?" And they would just confirm, and everything they would say would line up with the globe. Same
Yep.
as the 24-hour dark in the north. I try to explain this on Flat Earth Fridays, but nobody was hearing what I was saying.
So what's your point?
That we live on a globe.
Okay, so
How would any of that work on any flat Earth model ever?
Okay, wait up. So for
'Cause-
one, that's affirming the consequent, right? So if P, therefore Q, Q, therefore P. It's just fallacious, right? Because you're saying if the Earth's a sphere, you'll have a 24-hour sun and you'll have longer days in the southern continents. We have a 24-hour sun and longer days in the southern continents, therefore Earth is a spinning globe. Just fallacious. So let me give you an example. Let me give you an example of why it's fallacious. I'm going to give you an
Go
example. So, okay. If Sasquatch delivers my mail.
That's not what we're talking about, dude.
No, listen
this
to
is
the
what you
example.
do.
No, dude, you need to understand what the fallacy is and why it's a fallacy, man, okay? If Sasquatch delivers my mail, I'm gonna have mail in my mailbox on Fridays because Sasquatch takes works on Fridays or whatever. Then I go out, I check the mail on Friday. I'm like, oh look, there's mail in my mailbox on Friday. Therefore, Sasquatch delivered my mail. That's fundamentally fallacious, right? And it assumes exclusivity, and it just like begs the question of what you're supposedly proving, right? It's called affirming the concept. That's super fallacious, and the reason that that is not an acceptable way to figure out truth is because everything could be true in theory. Now, next thing is you're asking how would it work on a flat Earth? For one, falsification is independent of replacement. They gave us a specific spinning globe model and it's been falsified. Now, normally what happens is people get so triggered when I'm breaking this down that they're like, because it seems like I'm avoiding the question or something. I'm not. There's just an important preface to understand. One, that argument you made is affirming the consequent. It's a formal logical fallacy. It can be dismissed. It's inadmissible intellectually. Two, falsification is independent of replacement. We tested the spinning globe model. We falsified it. I don't need to replace it or it remains true, right? Those are independent. Third, I will speculatively give you some ways that it could happen. One of them is that we live in this like etheric, like kaleidoscope type of realm with the firmament, and that could happen many different ways. One way that's been shown is if you have a firmament with waters above, which is what the Bible says, for example, and the water acts like a mirror. You can actually take a light source and move it in a circle like the sun would over the AE map. And if you get close enough to the edge, which is what would happen in the summer, right? The sun would go further out towards the edge. As it gets close enough to the edge, what happens is you actually get a 24-hour sun all along the outside. And it's an apparent sun, like an apparent light source. It goes the opposite direction in this little circle, and it does it all around the outside. And as you move the camera, it's everywhere that you look. And you would have longer daylight on those other continents because the sun is further out south in those regions, and you're closer to the dome, which would actually cause the light to wrap around the outside as well. Okay, so that's one example. There's a few of them. There are people that claim a bipolar projection is more accurate and where Antarctica is actually a continent on a flat Earth. And then there are a few other examples, right? But simply like the sun can just be in a apparent position. That's kind of what the evidence suggests. Okay, so those answers aren't even required though to combat the it's a globe claim. All right, I have a few more things I want to explain to you, but I went a long time, so I'll just let you respond. Let me try to unmute you, I guess. All right, there you go. Someone else unmuted you. I know that was a lot, but does that make sense?
Am I being heard? Where the fuck is
Yeah,
my?
yeah, you're unmuted now.
That's the Witsit we all know and love.
Yeah, I was saying I don't know how anybody could think you're a shill with the amount of nonsense you just spouted. Like you got this shit on lock. You didn't address anything I said, dude.
I did. You asked me how it would happen on a flat Earth, and I gave you specific examples. And I also
Okay,
explained to you that even if I couldn't, it doesn't matter because it doesn't somehow prove the globe.
right. Okay, but you stood in Antarctica. Like I
Yes.
believe that. I saw the videos. The uncanny valley was not crossed. It was obviously real, even though
Hmm.
that dumbass had a fucking green screen on. But
Yeah, I know. Dropped the ball.
so yeah, that's just giving bait to the retards. But you stood there and you watched the sun orbit around your head 360 degrees, right?
Yes, sir.
So you didn't address what I said. So you in
I
South
did.
America it'd be light, and if the sun goes behind you, if you're standing in the same exact spot, it would be dark in South America. So it's
What?
Still begging the
that
question.
doesn't work on a flat Earth. Any model you could possibly think of. If you got to make up things about domes and like it reflects off the dome, it's like okay, who made the dome? Where'd the dome come from? How do we stick to the ground? It's just, you make
Dude,
up
these are such
answers.
fallacious arguments, bro.
You
Like,
think it all
who
happened by
made the dome?
Your answers are fallacious. Like they don't
No,
make
they're
any
not.
sense. You just make shit up as you go.
Okay, Matthew, you're gonna
Oh,
lose all your cool points by being so disingenuous. Like, you know that you
Yep.
can disagree and
I am
not
being as
be
genuous as possible. I believe every
genuine.
word I'm
And
saying.
okay, let me respond, please. Okay, my
Go
guy.
ahead, my guy.
You're saying that if you just have to make stuff up, then it's not valid unless you can tell me who made it. That's insane, right? Like you would never hold that same standard to your belief or your globe model belief. You would never hold that same standard to that. So you're being hypocritical. Like, let me give you an example.
I'm not.
Let me give you an example. The globe
Go ahead.
model claims that there's a magma core, 4,000 miles down. And so
Right.
it has like, you've seen the cartoons in the textbooks, it shows you all the layers of the earth, right? With the crust and the mantle and all that. Okay, so there's a globe model. What happened was people dug a hole in the ground, the deepest hole ever dug. It's 7.8 miles.
Yeah, I
The
know.
entire way down, every prediction from the globe model about what the layer should be, what the density should be, at the temperatures and the moisture, everything, what it should be. And by the way, it needs to be those things because that's how they claim to interpret like earthquake vibrational data and all this stuff. Okay. It was wrong the entire way down. It got like practically everything wrong. It was different elements than were supposed to be there, different densities. It was cold where it was supposed to be hot. It was wet where it was supposed to be dry. They got it wrong all the way 8 miles down. So what did they do? They started making up new models. They fixed that part and they had to shift everything else around. Now, no one's ever gone to the core. Who put the core there? How to get there? What's it really made of? Can you get to it? Can you touch it? Can you bottle it up? Of course not. So whenever the globe model makes those type of claims and then it's shown that they're wrong and just then make something else up, that's okay in your mind. Somehow that's legitimate. But if I'm saying, oh, well, there's a container on the earth, and the way that I know this earth is contained is because there's gas pressure here. And so it's literally required for the gas pressure to be here. And I say, okay, so we know that there's something physically contained in the earth. Here's one possibility that would give you a 24-hour sun. It just so happens to be consistent with the scriptural description and like many other ancient cultures' descriptions in cosmology, that if there was a dome, right, you would get this effect. This isn't me making anything up. I have a little flat Earth dome model right over here. If I put a light towards the edge, it wraps the light all the way around it. You know what I'm saying? So it is not me making a definitive positive claim. I can't verify it. It is an empirical, and I don't claim a model, but I can give you viable answers and you can prove that they work. You can do physical demonstrations to show that could be what is happening. Okay, so you said I didn't answer your question at all, but I did. I gave you a two
Yo,
specific examples of what could explain it: a
what
bipolar stereographic model or a firmament with waters above.
what are the chances that this guy came out with that around the same time, or how long has he been working on that model? Because I've
Oh,
never heard of him. So,
Well, he
so this
started
week,
working on it.
couple
He
weeks
started
ago.
working on it once he heard about the trip. He wanted to go to the trip, and he's like, I wonder if this could be the case. So he started looking at all the Bible's descriptions of the firmament, and he saw that where the molten glass one, that if you actually look at the words and stuff, it also could be interpreted as saying that it acts like a mirror. And so he was like, wait a minute. So then he started like messing with everything, assuming like a superfluid that's kind of acting like a mirror. And he started being able to get 24-hour sun. He started being able to replicate. But he's been working with the models for years. Like when
Am
we
I
spoke at the Truth and Freedom
muted?
Conference. No, but real fast, dude. Let me just tell him. When we spoke at the Truth and Freedom Conference, he was one of the speakers. So it was like a biblical cosmology conference, and he explained his model, and he's replicated like eclipses. He's replicated the phases of the moon, the different colors of the moon. He replicated like almost everything you could think of. He's actually replicated galaxies, the way that they look, the way that nebulas look, the way that all the like everything we view in the telescope. He's replicated all this inside of a dome. He's replicated southern star trails, where you can visually see it in person and walk around it and see southern star trails all around the outside. And now he's added a 24-hour sun inside of that model. So, yeah, that's kind of the answer.
So he was presented with a new problem with the clear 24-hour sun, and then he created an answer that fit to be an excuse for that.
First of all, he didn't. He created the model before we actually went down there and confirmed there is one. And secondly, isn't that how like what you would call science works, or just in general, isn't that how this all should work? If you make a new discovery and you see new empirical evidence, you have a couple options. A is to address it. Whatever theory or belief you had before that doesn't comport with that evidence now needs to be done away with. And it needs to be revised to accommodate the new evidence. Or you can just turn your head, claim it's not real, ignore it, and then just move on like it never happened.
But
So that's how
dude,
science
like,
works.
right.
This
But
isn't science, though, by the
you,
way, but yeah.
I know, but you kind of sidestepped what I said initially, and then you did a straw man about the borehole. I didn't bring that shit up. Like,
I'm doing a straw
what? You
man.
went on a big long rant. You said, "Oh, they did a borehole." Like, I didn't. Well, I wasn't talking about that shit. And then
No,
you
I
went
said
on a
you have a
big old
double
thing debunking.
standard, Matthew. Matthew.
You made up the argument, and then you debunked it.
No, I said you have a double standard. Like
No,
there,
yeah.
you have a
Go
double
ahead.
standard, bro. Like just think about it. You believe that the mainstream heliocentric globe model is true. But then whenever I brought up, here's a physical demonstration of like a flat Earth model that would show the 24-hour sun, you were like, oh, that you can't just say that. You can't just like make up what it is. And if that's the case, who made it? How's it there? And all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, you don't hold your belief to that same standard. Who made the core? How do you know it's there? Who verified it? You can't just find out your model is wrong when you dig the hole and then just make up new things and change everything. So you're not holding the same standard to both beliefs.
Okay.
That's my point.
Can I respond to that?
Yes,
Like,
yes, yes.
kind of in depth. You said it. You said a whole bunch.
Sure.
So you're debunking like what the core is made of, and what in my head we live on a globe. People are making speculations and assumptions and scientific theories about what's going on inside the Earth. Nobody fucking knows because it's so big. They did the borehole in fucking Russia or wherever the hell it was, and they didn't get too far. Apparently, the crust is deeper. That has nothing to do with anything that I would ever argue with. My arguments are about like what I said. You saw a 24-hour sun.
Lights in the sky. Your arguments are all lights in the sky. You should try
What
measuring
lights?
the Earth. The sun, the moon, the stars. Those are all just lights in the sky, sir. You should try measuring the ground. Yeah, you should try measuring the ground to curve away from you at 8 inches per mile squared. It doesn't do that.
Well, what about the initial experiment that the famous Greek one? I forgot the dude's name, but he measured.
Lights in the sky?
No, he
Lights in the
measured the
sky?
shadows on the ground.
Yeah, but
Witsit, tell him.
that same
From
exact thing
lights,
can be replicated on
from
a flat
lights
Earth,
in
though.
the sky, creating the shadows, guys. I'm sorry, Matt. I would rather you stop using the lights in the sky to prove globe model.
I
What
didn't
I'd like
mention any lights, bro. What the fuck?
Yeah, you said the
I mean,
Witsit
the
stood in
sun.
Antarctica and watched the
That's a
sun
light
go
in the sky.
around a therefore globe. Give me
So I
1 second,
can't bring
please.
up
Matt,
the
all I'm
most
trying
solid
to
proof.
tell you, no, Matt, looking at the sun is not proof of anything. Let me finish. All I'm saying is that if the Earth is a spherical object flying through a vacuum, then the surface of liquid water at rest must curve at a rate of 8 inches per mile squared. So at 8 inches at the first mile, 16 inches at the second mile, 32 or more, or 64 at 3 miles, right? It doesn't drop a millimeter from horizontal over 400 meters. I can get you the 1 mile breakdown and prove to you. You just go out, you buy a water level, you rent an auto level, and you can test this yourself. And forget looking at lights in the sky.
Well, I mean, they're the most solid proof.
I'm done. Yeah, you will only prove it to yourself by doing the test yourself.
Wait,
And the
how is it the
reason I
most
say
solid?
this, I've done this. Thank you.
But how is that the
Amazing.
most solid proof, Matthew? Like, if the surface of the Earth is
What?
curving, wouldn't the most solid proof be to physically measure the surface of the Earth curving?
Well, no, because the reason we know the Earth is curved is through like observations, like the shadow experiment we were just talking about, and like the fact that I just watched a video about this. It was Egyptians discovered the Earth was round because they sailed around the bottom half of Africa, and then all of their northern constellations disappeared. And then when they came back around the other side, they reappeared. And that's like a big one. And I know you're gonna say, look at the
That's more of
dome
a
and the
theory
guy.
based on an observation than the discovery guy. Sorry.
Well, then how would it work on a flat Earth? That's
Yeah, no
that's the
problem.
thing.
That doesn't
It's only
change the fact
possible
that
in
it's
one
not a
way.
discovery. I mean,
When I
see
didn't,
But
it
yo,
only be
it is a
possible in one
discovery.
way.
They're like, hey, we discovered this.
That's the
Matthew,
problem. You
there's
see it
almost
only
assuredly
being possible in one
there's
way.
almost assuredly something that you don't know. Okay, so this is what the official globe model says. So, like, okay, for example, if
Are
you
you
ever
gonna
seen
make
a
up a new
plane,
excuse and argue it?
have you ever seen? I'm
Sorry.
not going to teach you what you believe because I don't think that you know. So, if you have you ever seen a plane fly over your head?
Yes.
Right. So, like, okay, so as a plane is flying towards you, you know the plane's obviously just keeping the same altitude. It's like 35,000 feet. It's just flying
Mm-hmm.
straight. But if you look at it, the plane looks like as it's coming towards you, it looks like it's going up at an angle. And then it goes
Right.
overhead
Perspective.
and it goes away. Right. It goes away from you. It looks like it's going down. Okay. So when we look at the stars, like as we get further away from them, they look like they're going down, just like perspective. Like as they're closer, they go up. So as you start to approach the stars, they start to go up. And then as you go away from them, they start to go down. So it does
Well,
the
why are there new
exact
ones?
same.
If you go a certain direction, they just show up out of nowhere. Like
No,
that's
no, it's just that you
you're
can't. It's
arguing
just.
perspective, but they're
Time out,
totally
time out.
obscured. New ones
It,
come, and then the other ones
yes,
are obscured. And you
yes,
know that, and you can track it all the way down. And then
yes.
if you do a
Right
time
back
lapse
to
from the
lights
north,
in the
they
sky.
rotate one because
Okay,
it's the best evidence, bro.
okay, no,
Not.
it's the only thing that can even be claimed to allegedly be evidence for the globe because that's how the globe was made, and the
No,
Earth
I got
doesn't
a
measure
ton
to
more.
be a globe. No, you have nothing that isn't just pointing at the sky. But
No,
here is the
okay,
point. Here's the
go
point,
ahead.
man. I'm almost
I
done. I'm
got
just trying to make the
another one
point to you.
that's
I want
not
you to actually just think about this. Okay,
okay. Go
so
ahead.
obviously, as you start to approach stars, they start to look like they're getting higher, and then you start seeing the stars that were below them. It's because the stars that were below them, they were so far away, you couldn't see them, right? It's just like the stars, because of perspective, like they're going down in the distance, and then they start to converge. They look like they're converging into the ground, right? And so then it gets to the point where that all blends together, and you can no longer see what's beyond it, which is just how perspective works objectively, right? So as you go closer to it, you start to see more and more of the stars that were initially beyond that convergence point where it looks like the ground and the sky meet. Okay, now this is what I want you to know that this is most clovers don't ever realize it. Okay. So we know that perspective causes things to look like above us a ramp down and below us to ramp up. It's how perspective works in all scenarios ever. Railroad tracks, flip them on their side, airplanes, clouds, everything ever. Okay. Street lights, you name it.
Yeah,
The
except
globe
the
model claims
sky.
exactly. The globe model claims that the one exception is the sky. So the globe model is actually
Well,
that's
it
called
is.
special pleading. That's claiming an exception to a universal
Well, I could
principle.
explain it thoroughly.
No, 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 no. I'm almost done. I'm just going to lay this out for
Okay,
everyone.
go
This
ahead.
is important, bro.
Go ahead.
Okay. So we're saying, oh, the sky is affected by perspective, just like it always like everything else is. You're saying, well, no, everything is except for that, and it just so happens to do the same exact thing that perspective would do, but perspective's not affecting it. And then in order to claim that, what they did was say, well, if perspective's not affecting it, that must mean that they're super far away. Because that's the only way you could claim that.
Yeah.
So then they treated all the stars as a quote unquote infinite distance away. They treated the sun as insanely far away, so that perspective doesn't affect it. And then they said, wait, how would we be able to see these stars if they were infinitely far away? There's no way we could see them. Said, well, the only way in theory it could even be possible if there was nothing in between us and them. So then they said, okay, let's just say that there's literally nothing there and that we're seeing these from infinitely far away. And then they claim the only reason that it's changing is because we're changing our orientation on a globe, and it just so happens to look exactly the same as what perspective would do, but the stars are the
No.
one exception that perspective doesn't affect them. That is the stillman of the globe.
Can I respond?
Of course, yeah.
All right. So, like you're saying, it's perspective. Like if you travel over the equator, if you're going south, the northern stars slowly disappear, and then you get new constellations in the south. But they're not going away from you as if it were like a train track, the way you explain it, because that just disappears into the distance because of perspective. They are exactly the same. They do not change position. They just disappear the further south you go. They just stop being visible. And how would that happen? You
No,
have to
that's not
be
true.
going over a curve. That is true. What are you
No, they
talking
do.
about? How is
You
it
said they
not
don't.
true?
You said they don't change position. They just disappear. That isn't true. They literally look like they're going down. Like literally, that's how we
Well,
made the
yeah,
latitude
because of your
system.
position on the Earth.
Okay,
But they're
so
not.
if
They're not going. But if they were in perspective, they would be going at a point. Like all the you look at them all, and you walk away from it. They would be going away at a point. They're all in the same spot. They just go down over the globe in the same spot they were. But yeah, they go down because you're walking around a curve,
well, they're
and
not
then
in the
all of a
same
sudden, new
spot.
ones show up.
No, they're actually changing where they are. You're claiming that's just an illusion because you're starting to tip over on the ground. This is what I want you to answer, okay? If I looked out at it, say I have a huge expanse of cloud. There's just tons and tons of clouds. If I look
Yeah,
out in the distance at those clouds, what it looks like is it looks like they're ramping down, right,
right.
towards the
Because
horizon.
clouds are local and stars
Right,
are
right. Okay, okay, yes. Now, yeah, you think stars are
okay.
infinitely far away and that you're seeing back in time and all this crazy stuff. Okay,
Well, it makes
now,
more sense than a dome with water over it.
no, it doesn't make more sense that we're seeing back in time when we look at stars. It makes more sense that we're just looking at
Well,
stars.
that's a light speed argument. I'm not
Well, you
doing
have
that.
to make that argument. You can't even believe in the globe unless you believe the stars are insanely far away, which would mean that you have to think you're seeing back in time. But here's the point.
Yeah, but I
If I
don't need
start
to know the
walking,
math for light speed.
okay, cool, man. If I start walking towards the clouds, because we agree that they're local, they look like they're going down, right?
Yeah,
Just
they
as a
look like they're
perspective.
coming up because
Okay.
you're getting
Yeah,
closer to
exactly.
them
So if I
because they're
exactly.
local.
Exactly. So the stars do the same thing. The globe model claims, oh, sure, they look like that. They do the same thing that perspective would do, but actually, it's not because of perspective. This is the one exception. It's actually because we are tipping over or we are leaning
It's
forward effectively.
it's super obvious though, because everything else that moves with perspective, like clouds, as you said, they shrink as they get further away. The stars, it's like I don't know how to explain it, but it's just they're in the sky. When you move away from them, they don't get closer together as they would with perspective. Clouds start looking smaller, and further apart, they start looking like they're closer together. The stars don't do that. They're in the same damn position, and no matter your point on Earth, you are not going to change the constellation. Does that make sense?
No, because based on where you
Why?
are on the Earth, you do see stars in different positions. You see stars that you can't always see, and at times
Right,
you
because of
see
the
stars.
curve.
At times you see stars you're not even supposed to be able to see. At times you can see Polaris past the equator, which should be on the other side of a ball. And when you take time lapse of star trails over like the ocean, what you see is that the star trails don't intercept with the water horizon. They all cut off at a horizontal line up above it. That's what a flat earth would expect because the stars are only above you. But in your paradigm, there are stars underneath my feet right now. Like you believe that there
Right.
are stars underneath your feet. So that means that if I take a time lapse of star trails over the ocean, I should see that the star trails are going into the ocean, like they're getting cut off by the ocean. That's not what happened, though. You'll never find that. It doesn't exist. They always cut off up above the horizon. And you'll never see shooting stars or meteor showers coming directly up on the horizon. You only see them going at angles from up above you, right? Which is what we
Not
would
right.
expect. It is right. You'll never find a
What?
video
What?
of stars shooting stars or meteors shooting straight up from the horizon. It doesn't exist.
Yes, you will. Have you seen the time lapses from the equator where it's just like the star? Come on.
Yes, I've
Hold up.
looked at every single one. I've had Globers look for hours and hours and hours trying to find one. None of them exist. The only thing you'll ever
If you
see is them
let
coming
me
at an
talk for a second,
angle
please.
from like behind a mountain or
You,
something.
yeah, you said like 20 million things. That's why you are the flat Earth ambassador, and that's why I had your back because you were into this shit, and you have very sneaky argument tactics. But hold up,
Yikes.
you brought up star trails. If the Earth is flat, why, if we point a camera at the north, they rotate in one direction and it's a certain set of stars? And at the same exact time, if you had a camera pointed at the south, there'd be a totally different set of stars rotating in the opposite direction. How does that work?
Of course, that is a red herring fallacy, but I will answer it.
It's not
You
a
just
red herring.
completely,
That happens. It's a true thing that happens.
yes, that is a true thing that happens, but
Okay.
a red herring fallacy is
How?
where you deflect away and divert from the actual point that was just made.
Oh, right, like a
So,
borehole.
no, the borehole is just an analogy. I wasn't trying to argue about the borehole. I
No,
was giving you an
you're
analogy.
you're calling me on shit that I'm being like for real. You brought up star trails, but you brought up a borehole for nothing and argued the whole point as if it
No.
was definitive. And now you're trying to pull the same shit on me.
Okay,
You
listen,
are
man. I brought up the borehole to explain to you that you have a double standard, and when the globe model, the model doesn't work, and the evidence shows it's not true, and you just have to start making stuff up. That's okay. To you, that's fine. That's quote unquote science, and that's cool,
no, I'm not
right?
arguing the consistency of the Earth.
No, you're
We're
not
talking about stars, and then
understanding,
I
dude.
just
The point is that your argument at that point was that what disproved flat Earth is that to explain the 24-hour sun, you guys have to come up with something new. And I'm like, what? Yeah, that's how things work. When you find out new evidence, you have to come up with explanations for it, just like
right.
in your model. Okay, now
No, the
the point
globe
is,
just works with
it doesn't
everything you
work
could possibly imagine. Like if
except
you
for
want
all
to
the
get
layers
into
and the core and the
no, hold up.
magnetic
I was gonna say that
field and
we
How does it
don't
work
know
with
that for
curved
sure.
water? You
What?
can't curve a water level, bro. If you started to just measure the Earth, you'd find out that it's not a sphere. But you don't want to do that. You want to keep looking at the lights in the sky for some
Bro, you're
strange
just
reason and think that
too
proves you live on a
small to
globe.
see a curve, and a water level
Yeah,
is not
get
gonna help
some
you.
tools. Get some tools and
Witsit,
measure the curvature of the Earth. If
get
it's
your boy.
there, show it. I can prove to you that water is level with a tool.
Well, I can send you a picture of a boat
Well, you
disappearing
can send
behind
me
the
a picture.
horizon,
How
but
about
you
you
will
go buy
say it ain't
yourself a
right.
water? No, hang on, guy. How about you go buy yourself a water level, learn how
I
it
have
works.
plenty.
No, not a spirit level, a water level. Do you know the difference between a spirit level and a water level?
What's a water level?
It is two vials with measuring hash marks on them.
How
And they're
long are
connected by a hose. And it's if you Google the law of communicating vessels, it will make more sense to you. But you don't want to look at the measurements of the ground. You want to look at the lights in the sky and say, I live on a globe. You need to stop that. You don't have to, but you need to. You need to measure the earth, not look at the lights in the sky. I'm done. Thank you, sir.
Okay, I got
Yes,
an idea. I got an idea. I
please
got
leave.
Matthew. I got an idea. Okay, now check this.
I
The way that
just
we created. Oh no, trust me, bro. The way
well,
that we
he's talking
created the globe.
nonsense.
It's fine. Just listen, bro. The way that we created the globe model, or that it was created, was what happened was people started
Thousands of
looking at
years
the
ago.
sky. People started. Well, that's debatable, but whatever. People started looking at the sky. Okay, and they started mapping it out and using math, assuming that the Earth's a sphere. And so they're like, okay, what rate does the stars fall? Like, what does the
Well,
sun do? Whatever,
hold
whatever.
up.
Listen.
Math
So
is universal. Hold on, let me say something. So they used math, and then they came to a conclusion almost unanimously across the globe.
that's not what
And you
happened.
think they
Maybe
lied
you
about
should
it
address my
for?
point.
First of
Okay, go
all,
ahead.
it's built a
Sorry, my bad.
consensus. And secondly, that isn't even true. Whenever the official story is that the Greeks like proposed it, they were like a huge minority. Almost no one else in the world agreed with them at all. But anyway, this is the point, bro. Okay. They made the globe model from the sky. Literally, that's how we made it. That's how we got this alleged
Well,
size of it. That's
that's
how we
how
did
they
everything.
observed it.
No, because
It
you
was
could have
like,
looked at
hey,
the you
this
could have
only
looked at the
works
sky.
here.
No, that's not what happened. You could have looked at the sky. What actually, like, say the Greeks, what they said was they think it makes more sense philosophically that the Earth would be a sphere because they think the sphere is the perfect shape. So then they went out trying to map out the Earth being a sphere and looked at the sky to do it. It was not that they found out it was the only way that worked. It was that they claimed through Neoplatonism, they claimed that the sphere was the perfect shape. Okay, this is the point though. Please just entertain us with good faith, bro.
I'm listening.
Okay, we made the globe model from the sky. Literally, that's how we made it. And over time, it kept being refined and slightly changed and updated to the point where we had to add a wobble, then add another wobble, then add another wobble, then add another wobble, right? Literally
Bullshit.
4 wobbles. No, we had to add four.
Name the 4 wobbles and explain them to me.
There's like
Because
a Chandler wobble, there's notation, and then there's like the vernal precession or whatever. And the fourth one is some weird name. So, in like in really simple terms, it was like they saw that the stars look like they're slowly precessing. So they said, well, for that to happen, then the Earth has to wobble. Then they realized that in the
right.
spinning globe wobbling model, that the moon didn't work at all. So then they had to add another wobble to try to explain the moon, and they added a couple more. Okay, but dude, just
right.
here's the point. Here's the point. We looked at the
Go
sky,
ahead.
and we made the globe, and we refined it over time. Right. And adding the wobbles are a few examples of how they had to just refine it because the sky kept actually not matching the globe. So eventually, after hundreds of years, we get this globe model that was built from the sky. Now, what happens is in 2024, I guess about to be 2025, people come around and they say, hey, look, proof that the Earth is a globe is that it matches the sky. It's like, dude, literally, it was made from the sky. So to claim that proof that the globe is real is that it matches the sky is stupid. Of course it does. That's literally how it was made. That does not prove that it's actually a globe.
Right. But there's plenty of other. Hold up. I got to get my dog inside.
You're not gonna be able to name one other piece of evidence that's without pointing to the sky.
Well, I brought this up on Flat Earth Fridays, and they all seem to think it's hilarious in perspective. Like, if you stand at the bottom of a tall building like the Burj Khalifa, you can watch the sunset, take an elevator, and watch it again. But they say it's perspective. Let me just give you the argument because I know that's what you're going to say too. If it's perspective, like where does the sun go when you're on the ground? Like you're on the ground, you watch the sunset, it's gone. You go up, there it is again. Perspective does not work like that. All right,
Yes,
go.
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
The
yes,
sun
it does.
gets
Okay.
the sun gets so far away that you can't see it anymore because it goes beyond the vanishing point. That's why we actually
No,
have
it
videos.
doesn't. It doesn't
Wait
shrink
up,
and
man.
vanish. It's the
First of all,
same
it
damn
doesn't have to
size.
shrink. Dude, first of all, it does slightly shrink. In every video that's ever been taken of it, if you count the pixels, show that it actually does get slightly smaller.
No,
Even yes, it does.
the glow disappears because it's being obscured by the atmosphere. You know this shit, dude.
No, we use a solar filter and we film the sun and say like Woofy 6090 or whatever. He said, look, this proves the sun doesn't change angular size. He used a solar filter, but when you actually look at his video and count the pixels, the sun did get smaller. Anyway, the point is there's other videos of the sun actually disappearing up above the horizon and it's being cut off from the bottom with the horizontal line, the same way we see all sunsets, but it happens up in the air above the horizon, which just proves that it isn't going
Under
behind a physical
which
curve.
atmospheric circumstance?
Which one is going to somehow do that? And it doesn't even matter because if you're claiming it's the Atmo, then you're claiming
Alright.
you're claiming that sunsets are possible on a flat Earth because of the atmosphere, that you don't need a physical curve. But here's the more important part of your question, though. Okay, that's where the sun actually goes. But if I lay down on a floor and I look out and then I stand up, I'm able to see further along the floor. So I could put a little block on the ground, and if I lay down to look at the Lego, I can't see it. But if I stand up, I can see the Lego,
Yeah,
and
I
everyone in this
saw the
room can
videos.
replicate that. And that's because it increases your angle of view. You now have a greater
Yeah.
angle of view. So this is just a fact, right? You can go right now, lay your head on the ground and look at a Lego block. You can't see it. When you stand up, you'll see it. Okay, so that's not a proof of a globe at all.
Right, but a block on the ground is not like the source of life, like the sun like feeds everything and it's fucking way up in the
Yeah,
sky
you
and
just
it's a
can't get
bright
away
ass
from the light
light.
in the sky.
Shut the fuck up, bro.
No, you need to measure
Like
the
I'm
Earth
sorry.
because
I don't
all
want to
your
be a
globe
dick,
proof
but
that you hold. No, hang on, sir. All the globe proof you hold in your head just goes in your head. You don't have any physical measurements of Earth curvature. You have looking
okay.
at the light in the sky and building a model in your head.
Can you prove a flat Earth model or give me anything other than
No,
hold a
no, no, no.
level?
It's not about proving a flat Earth
Oh,
model.
okay. So
No,
I'm debunked, but you don't have to
no,
prove shit. I don't have a model. I'm
again,
in flux.
falsification is independent of replacement. Does that statement mean anything to you?
No.
Then there's no talking to you. Sorry, Matt.
No, like you have to
No,
understand what that means.
I'm having a good time. I don't
Matthew, if
have
I can
any
look,
hard feelings to any of you guys, but
sure. But Matthew,
dude's
I come up
pissed.
to you
I
and I
feel the
say, hey,
same way,
look.
Matt.
Hey, Matthew, look, I just found out that I'm actually adopted. I found adoption papers and those aren't my real parents. And you're like, what? No way, bro. I've known them your whole life. And you're like, yeah, but I mean, apparently they're not real parents. Here's the evidence. Here's the DNA test. Here's the paperwork from the court. Here's the proof. They're not my real parents. And you start
What?
asking questions like, why would they lie? I don't know.
Well,
It
I'm
doesn't matter.
you,
Wait up, dude.
and
Wait
this
up.
is the greatest
Wait up.
acting job.
Wait up. I'm like, you're like, why did they lie? I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't matter why they lied, bro. I'm just showing you that they did lie. They're not my real parents. Wait, are you saying everyone's in on it? Like all pilots and teachers and everyone at the church and everyone at the school, they're all pretending they're your parents and lying to you? No, they also believe they're my parents. They're not in on anything. But anyway, they're not my parents. And then you say, okay, well, then who are your real parents? Which is what you're doing right now. Well, then, okay, what's the flat earth model? What's the other answer? It's like, who are your real parents? I don't know, bro. I just now found the evidence that proves that they're not my real parents. So as of now, all I know for sure is that they're not my real parents. Oh, well,
Thank
until
you,
you can
Witsit.
tell me, oh, well,
Thank
until
you.
you can tell me who your real parents are, I'm not gonna believe that they are not your real parents. I'm gonna keep believing they are your real parents until you can tell me who the real parents are and you can replace them. That would be insane.
Falsification is independent of replacement.
I didn't hear the first
Thank
part.
you.
That's why I didn't hear it.
Rob, can you quit talking over Witsit so Matt can hear it?
Sorry, Witsit.
Bro.
I didn't
No,
hear
you're good.
what
I've been
was
talking a lot. I'm ready to kind of pass it.
repli-
Like, what's up? Falsification's independent of replacement, bro. I just gave the analogy of adoption.
falsification.
Yeah, it's just objective, right? Like, even though
Yeah.
you prove that they are not my real parents, I don't have to know who my real parents are before proving they're not my real parents. Like, it's independent of each other. The fact I falsified the claim that they're my real parents stands on its own. It's just true regardless of if I stop there and never look for my real parents, whether I start speculating about who my real parents are, whether I get on Facebook and I start an entire search for none of that matters. The
I
fact
got you.
okay, the globe model has been falsified, and falsification is independent of replacement. I don't need to know how far away the sun is, how big it is, how far away the stars are, how everything works. I don't need to know any of that. I don't need to know what's underneath the earth. I don't need to know what's past 8 miles. I don't need to know anything, right?
I get this statement now. Falsification, whatever.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Can we?
Matt.
Can I change the subject a
Appreciate
little
you.
bit?
Yeah, of course. But I just want to thank you for understanding it and now getting it. I hope you take it to heart.
Okay. I don't want to be a dick, but I find that ridiculous. But look,
Oh my god.
like I have told to the Flat Earth Friday people, I am convinced in my beliefs, and you guys are convinced in your beliefs. Can like it's all
we used
hey,
to
here's
believe in the
this
globe
evidence,
too,
let me
right?
debunk it and shit. Can I finish real quick? Can anyone explain how a flat Earth works? Or like give me like a good example of a model
Why?
somebody believes in at all.
Why?
Because
To
this
replace
whole
your
thing.
globe model?
Well, let me talk real quick, bro.
Go ahead.
Because whenever I get in these conversations, like I used to do this for fun back in the day. I would get all in the YouTube comments, but then I stopped, and then Twitter decided I needed to see flat Earth content. But every time it's like what's happening now. Like, hey, here's this thing about the globe. Explain why that doesn't work. But nobody ever explains how anything ever works on a flat Earth other than to debunk like a globe Earth claim.
Absolutely.
Like what does the flat Earth look
Tried to
like?
explain to you how to measure the Earth to know whether it's a
Bro,
sphere or not.
stop. I
You
heard you.
ignored
Yes.
me.
I need a water
Yeah,
level.
you
Okay.
just ignored me.
But also, what you're saying is not true anyway. I just explained how the stars work due to perspective. I just explained with
Well, that's
specificity
wrong.
how sunsets work. No, the fact that you're trying to claim it's wrong doesn't. You just made the claim that no one ever explains anything ever on a flat Earth. That isn't true. I explained that the necessary antecedent to gas pressure is physical containment. So the way that we have gas pressure, thus a gradient, is that there's something physically containing the Earth. I've explained exactly how what people are mislabeling as gravity works. There's an electric gradient, a downward electric bias, and there's density and buoyancy. It's just based on pressure mediation relative to the medium. I've explained all kinds of things. We explain things all the time. So to claim that we don't explain anything is true. Here's your flat Earth model. The Earth physically measures to be flat. Water, large bodies of water at rest are flat. Gas pressure requires containment. So there's a topographical plane surrounded, there are topographical planes or a plane surrounded by water that is flat. There's something containing it. There's your model, bro.
Hey, could I jump in on this? I have a comment on the saying that the water's level. You can correct me if I'm wrong on this, and I probably am. But it seems to me this is an affirming the consequent fallacy because it's saying if the world's flat, we will measure it flat with a water level. We do measure it flat with a water level, therefore it's flat. Isn't that affirming the consequent?
Well, does
P
the
then
water
Q, Q
level
then
curve?
P.
Does the water level curve?
Does measuring it flat with a water level prove that it's flat?
If you phrase it
I
that
would
way,
agree
then
with
yes, it is affirmative
measurements
consequent, but that's not the way
over
we phrase the argument.
observations.
They observe it flat. They don't measure it flat. They observe
No,
it
no,
flat.
no.
I wish they
I,
would be
I
honest.
I'm just
measured
saying that
with a water
that
level
argument is if
of
P then Q,
horizontal, and they
Q,
were
then P.
identical.
If you phrase it that way, then yes, it is affirming the consequent. That's why, of course, we wouldn't phrase it that way.
So how do we phrase it that I'm missing?
If we observe and measure the
Earth
surface
is
of the
a
Earth to be
spherical
horizontal,
object.
then the surface of the Earth is horizontal. Affirm the antecedent, affirm the consequent, modus ponens.
So we're defining horizontal as a flat line in that definition, which is erroneous.
That's what horizontal means.
No, no. Have you ever read Euclid?
That's what we're talking about, the orientation of the surface.
Right, but horizontal is a horizontal lines on a curved plane are curved.
No,
No, they're not.
You're
Horizontal is
conflating
always.
the issue, the horizontal
It's not
orientation of the
curved.
surface.
Wait, let's just help him out though. Like, first of all, what you're trying to say is like a level on a globe is curved, but
Right.
horizontal is always
That's
horizontal.
what he's saying.
So
Well, saying horizontal is
Right.
horizontal is a
We're talking about the
tautology.
orientation of the surface. You're not grasping this. We're talking about the orientation of the surface, not the principal lines that you can imagine